My name is Oluwafemi Samuel Afariogun. I'm a Yoruba poet from Nigeria and a brand creative. I've been able to write poetry and also publish poetry in local magazines and international magazines. And you can find me on Twitter and on Instagram at AS Oluwafemi. This evening, I'm reading two of my poetry that came out from the Three Panels Press magazine, Moonshadows and Sunbeams, issue 3. The two poetry, Kosoko Should You Die and Petrichor. On Kosoko Should You Die, it is a poetry that inspired from pain. Pain felt by mothers who gave birth to stillborn. This poetry is addressing stillborns as the same child that comes over and over again. And this poetry now sounds as a subtle kind of threat to them that once they come, they should not return again. Because if they should return, there are no more grave or ground to bury them. So here I read. Kosoko was an awaited chief to inherit the wealth and the affluence of my father. It was expected by all the Borokini and the Oloye who wanted to lavish him with gifts. His welcoming ritual were performed by the most divine of all Ifa priests and Yeyoshun. Wives were prepared already for him, even those who were not yet born, to persuade him to stay. The barns are full of yams for pounding and rams for slaughters. Many said he has been here before. Many knew him, but not his face. Some said he was just here not long ago, but we can't say how he went back. To some, he is the oldest, the one who has seen the ancestors. The sight of a mortal too long is a taboo for him. Some said he is the youngest, a little coward that the touch of caring hands scares him and put him to a never returning sleep. Baba Wande spoke too. He said he knew him, that they were friends coming from the Asheda, till we left him alone to this whirlwind of life and its cruelty. But check on him once in a while in a red moon, with the pretense of staying until he goes again. He even showed me the last of the site of Kosoko, and I saw 6 doors of them. 6? I saw one that looked like the door I once used for my ascension to Eledumare. Is this a trance? I think I know him too, this Kosoko. I passed someone the bathing when I left, not to continue the race, but to start a new one. Where Petrichor? Petrichor is a poetry addressing the nature, celebrating nature and their characteristics. It is a poetry that is telling the nature and the motherhead that I see you and I know how it is you live. There will be a great ball. The letters were sent in lightning and echoed in thunders. The celestials were dressed, but the sun seemed uninterested, maybe not invited. The cloud banks, all dressed in black and gowned like coal, suited as night, after hours of rumbling songs, they all left, leaving a filled bottle. And I also want to use this opportunity to be appreciative of the team behind this beautiful work, the editor-in-chief, Jazzy J, and also Lola Brout. And I also want to give shout out to every other creative, from poetry to photography, that added their creativity and their beautiful intellectual work to this great magazine. Thank you to everyone for the opportunity for me to submit my work and also to read it out, to explain, and also to express myself in it. Thank
you. Facing the music. Every time I betrayed her, my wife tortured me with questions, as if she were an evil cardinal stretching me on a rack. Who's Angela? And why is she texting you at 1 in the morning? Crank of the winch, click. What's this red acrylic fingernail doing in your pants pocket? Crank of the winch, click. And always that lined face in the background peering at me from the darkness, smirking at my pain. My stomach churned as I pulled the Audi into the driveway of our Victorian fixer-upper. Ghostly fingers of dawn's pale gold flexed across the asphalt sky from the east and threatened the maternal swaddle of darkness. I should have been home hours ago. The battered briefcase holding her lawyer's unsigned divorce papers lay within reach on the passenger seat. I grabbed it and heaved myself out of the car. The briefcase fell open, and the papers glided everywhere, flapping like sparrows onto the dew-laden grass. The windows of my Victorian-style house were bleak and unsettling. I could swear I saw a hunched figure behind the curtain, but it might have been my nerves. Or a portent? The facade of our unhappy home had been deteriorating when I bought it, but I could have sworn it had solid bones. I'm not so sure now. I could just make out a workman's abandoned ladder reaching up to the antique gables at the side of the looming structure. A wrinkled and warped sack of unused shingles sat forgotten at its base. A fog enveloped the house like an overbearing mother, heavy, inescapable, yet ephemeral and impossible to embrace. The sound of my car door closing grounded me. I needed to focus. My story. Think. Out with the boys. Drinks. Laughs. No. An overused lie. Sweat stippled my upper lip, even though the pre-dawn was nippy. I love you, I need you, don't leave me, I'll change. Better, but too cliché. Should I suggest more marriage counseling? Oh God, not again. The first time had quickly become an iron maiden of one-sided grievances. The second time, probing questions and dead silence. I retrieved the divorce papers from the grass. They had wilted from the dew. I dabbed the sheets on my pants, placed them back in the briefcase, and snapped the clasps. An echo, like a gunshot, filled the front yard. The sound too loud, but reassuring. I was still there in my perfidious self. I sniffed the collar and cuffs of my pale blue shirt, checking for the lingering bouquet of my most recent indiscretion. I should have taken a shower. I had to cage the relentless hunger and the yearning that traumatized my past and disabled my future. If my mother hadn't been so distant, yet so careful to carry out the trappings of motherhood without the emotional investment, maybe it would have been easier to feel love. Outright rejection of me, her child, would have narrowed my focus on one partner, a man overboard, forever clinging to one buoy. Acceptance, on the other hand, would have grounded me, but caught in between, emotional purgatory. Now, if I explained this to my wife, would she forgive me? I took a deep breath and shambled to the front door, a gaping hellgate eager to gulp me whole. On the other side resided hope, or rejection. I wiped the sweat from my thumb and pressed the opaque panel on the biometric lock attached to its time-worn oak host. The mechanism clacked and swung open on oiled hinges. I stepped into the dim foyer. I opened the briefcase and removed the unsigned papers, moving into the parlor like a repentant wraith, ready to hand them back and plead my case. Intermittent gray flashes from a muted TV and the strains of Mozart's Lacrimosa drifted in the air. A lone figure rose slowly from the sofa back to me. A diffuse light seeped through a white robe while dust swirled in the weak illumination. The ominous figure turned like smoke coiling away from a flame and faced me. "She's gone," croaked my mother, lips curling into a cruel smile. "I'm not surprised. Again and again I reminded you that you push her too far. You never listen." The flocking on the antique parlor walls seemed to shimmer. The papers fell from my hand. My legs trembled. "Sit down," she commanded, turning toward the kitchen. "I'll make you a sandwich."
Hi there. I'm delighted to have the chance to read a couple of poems for Three Panels Press for this reading. And thanks to Jazzy Jane and the rest of the team for accepting my poem for publication. And I hope you enjoy them. The poem I have in this issue of Three Panels Press is In the Library. And it was inspired by a visit to the British Library in London a few years ago. And I'll give it a go. I read words in the hands of other scribes that shaped the stories of their times, saw notes on notes from many minds that some still try to harmonize. Some sounds were never heard by ears, but were left on paper for many years, a reminder that what's left behind is never the whole story. Some letters there were left unfinished, although their message was delivered, for even when a person dies, their words and art can still live on. I searched for footprints all around, for footprints in these texts are found. Each letter signed, some once being sealed, some secrets now only now revealed. Old maps provide us with a view and leave us with a lot of clues. Sacred texts are set aside, but what is sacred? Who decides? Gathered from around the world, translated into mother tongues, that we can read to understand and teach to others in our land. Inspiring minds, inspiring lives, towards greater knowledge we slowly strive. For heroes great and heroines remind us of the power inside. As Shakespeare borrowed, so shall I, and I look to stars up in the sky and reach and find and share, so that when I am gone I leave behind something that might please the mind of someone who might follow. I picked out two other poems that I hope I can bring up on screen here now to share with you this evening. That give maybe two other insights into my writing and my inspiration. The weather is starting to improve here in Ireland, but sometimes it's nice just to write on a frosty morning. So this poem was first published in Field Guide back in 2022. It's Writing on a Frosty Morning. Bare black branches lie like writing in the frozen fog beyond the window. Like invisible ink, the gentle warmth of winter's sun reveals more of nature's wonders, secret codes inscribed upon the landscape, read by artists who share the wonder of all there is and can be. Silent snow betrays the now unfinished symphony of life, disturbed by dawn. Faint footsteps mark tracks of birds and beasts who danced, their choreography now a text, transferred to the storied paths that inspire the artist's brushes, fiddler's bows, and poet's pen's ramblings. I think there's great beauty in the world around us, and it's lovely to watch out and to see the beauty all around us. Some of it which is there by nature's own dint, but also some of it which we take care to create ourselves. As I look out, I see the snowdrops blossoming and the daffodils just about to emerge. And so the third poem I've chosen for this short reading is a poem called Planting Bulbs. It was published first in, I think, a now defunct journal called Arazi, again in 2022. So I hope you enjoy Planting Bulbs. As autumn tints tree-bound leaves, each bulb goes down with hope. Beneath dark earth, we believe new colour will come in spring. The summer sun is fading fast, the wind is not yet cold, it whispers in uncovered ears stories of future gold. When daffodils break free and call for spring to bring new life, but they rest for now beneath the soil, a hidden, delayed delight. Thank you very much, and I look forward to hearing the other poems and reading the next issue of Three Panels Press. All the best.
Autumn preserves fleeting moments in golden hues. Memories of a fall day captures a quiet connection, unspoken yet lingering and etched into the crisp air like a whisper of what could have been. Beneath the crisp breath of autumn's sigh, I stood where morning's whispers lie, in hues of salmon soft and true, while amber leaves the walkway strew. The crowd ascended steps in tune, through doors that framed a fleeting noon, and there she stood, a vision bright, white-clad grace in shadowed light. Her gaze a thread unseen yet bound, eyes that spoke, though lips made no sound. The color of her shadowed lids reflected mine, where longing hid. Yet anguish stirred a ghostly weight of moments past, a fractured state. I turned away, but still we'd steal those fleeting glances we could feel. At midday's pause, her presence near, a silent pull so loud, so clear. Her shoulders turned, fingers intertwined. Step closer, you're on my mind. But walls of doubt and whispers grew, a chasm vast between us two. My heart cried out, though silence reigned, a longing neither lost nor gained. Outside, where autumn's solace fell, I sought the air to break the spell. Yet still she lingered soft and stark, a glowing flame within the dark. As evening's edge drew shadows thin, my words stayed trapped, my thoughts within. Did she feel the pull, the tether's plea, or was it only memory? I'd trade my peace, endure the ache, for just one word that she might make. Yet silent stood the fragile thread, and all was left unsaid, unsaid. Now every leaf that autumn frees whispers her name upon the breeze, and though the anguish still holds sway, I'd relive it all that fall day. Every choice leaves an imprint, a weight upon the soul. To act with kindness, to stand for truth, to bear the burdens of others. These are not light decisions, yet they shape the essence of who we are. The weight of a noble heart reflects on the silent trials of integrity, the cost of doing what is right, and the unseen gravity carried by those who choose to walk the path of virtue. Here is my poem, The Weight of a Noble Heart. What is the weight of hearts that choose the right, that seek the truth beyond the veil of sight? Is kindness etched in every word you share, or do you falter, tangled in despair? When shadows rise and bid your soul to stray, do you defend the light or turn away? Are your hands soft, prepared to heal and guide, or do they grasp for gain and feed your pride? When power tempts or ease invite your hand, do you still rise, though few will understand? Do you uphold the broken when they fall, or pass them by, unmoved by by mercy's call. When silence lingers thick with fear and doubt, do you speak truth or let the flame burn out? The mirror waits, unyielding, cold, and true. It asks one thing: what kind of soul are you? For in the end, no wealth or pride remains. The heart alone weighs all that it attains. So gauge your life, each choice, each scar, each deed. Have you fulfilled the world's most sacred need? To heal, to love, to tear the dark apart. This is the weight of a noble heart.